Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be tackling UK benefits,
Mm.
specifically how they support people with disabilities and long-term health conditions.
Yeah, it's a big one.
It is a big one, and we are going to try to, just get the highlights and give you a better understanding of how it all works.
Sounds good.
So, we've got two main sources for this deep dive.
Okay.
We've got the Citizens Advice website and a gov.uk page all about personal independence payment, or PIP as it's known.
Right, PIP.
Yeah. Now, you might be thinking, well, I don't need benefits right now, so why should I care?
Yeah, I can see someone saying that.
Yeah, and it's a fair point, but
Yeah,
understanding these
Charlie.
systems, I think, helps us understand
Yeah,
how society supports its most vulnerable.
absolutely. It's like
It's kind of like a test.
a litmus test for how compassionate a nation is.
I like that, yeah, it goes beyond individual needs to like the values we hold as a society.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get practical.
Okay.
What are some of the key takeaways from Citizens Advice?
Well, Citizens Advice is incredible. They offer free, confidential advice on tons of issues,
Really?
including benefits.
Wow.
They have over 14,000 volunteers across the UK.
Wow, 14,000.
Yeah, it's huge. And they can help people navigate everything from cost of living crises to just understanding energy bills.
That's a massive network. They must have a huge impact.
Oh, they do a huge impact. And they don't just offer advice. They also conduct research and run campaigns to actually influence policy.
Oh, wow.
So they're really trying to make systemic change.
So they're tackling the problem from both ends,
Zach.
helping individuals and also advocating for better policies. That's impressive.
Yeah, it's a great organization.
But let's zero in on a specific benefit, PIP.
Okay.
What's the core idea behind it?
So PIP, or Personal Independence Payment, is for people in England and Wales who have long-term health challenges or disabilities that affect their daily lives.
Okay.
It's important to remember that Scotland has a separate system called Adult Disability Payment, or ADP, and that will fully replace PIP for Scottish residents by spring 2025.
Okay, so England and Wales use PIP, while Scotland will soon be using ADP.
Correct.
Why does the UK have this separate system for Scotland?
Well, it essentially comes down to devolved government.
Okay.
Scotland has its own parliament with the authority to create and administer certain social security benefits.
So different regions, different systems?
Yeah, that's right.
What else makes PIP unique?
One key thing is that PIP isn't means tested.
Okay.
This means that having savings or a job doesn't disqualify you.
Oh, interesting.
It recognizes that disability can affect anyone regardless of income.
That's a really important point. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not about wealth, it's about how your health affects your ability to live your life.
Exactly.
Mm.
Now, to really grasp PIP, we need to understand its two core components: daily living and mobility.
Okay, so two sides of the same coin.
Yes.
What does each part actually cover?
So daily living focuses on challenges you face with everyday tasks because of your condition.
Okay.
Things like preparing food, managing medication, washing, dressing, or even communicating effectively.
So it's about those fundamental activities that we often take for granted.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And the mobility part assesses how your condition impacts your ability to get around.
Okay.
And this doesn't just mean physically moving.
Mhm.
It includes things like navigating routes, planning journeys, or even the mental and emotional challenges of leaving home, which is crucial for people with anxiety or other mental health conditions.
So it's a much broader view of mobility than just physical movement.
Yeah,
It considers the whole experience of getting from A to B.
precisely. And the assessment isn't just about whether you can do these things at all.
Right.
It's about how safely, quickly, and frequently you can do them and whether you need assistance.
So it's about the degree of difficulty and the level of support needed.
Yes,
It sounds like a really thorough evaluation process.
it is.
Wow.
The Department for Work and Pensions, or DWP, is responsible for evaluating how your condition affects your ability to carry out these everyday tasks.
Okay.
And if someone needs a lot of care because of their disability,
Mhm.
what happens then?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
If you need substantial care from someone else,
Yes.
they might be eligible for a separate benefit called carer's allowance.
Exactly. The system acknowledges that supporting someone with a disability requires significant contribution from the carer as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it tries to provide support on both sides of the equation.
That makes sense. It's recognizing the ripple effect of disability
Mm-hmm.
and the need for support beyond just the individual.
Exactly.
Now, I know PIP is gradually replacing an older benefit called Disability Living Allowance, or DLA.
That's right.
But there are still some people receiving DLA, right?
That's right. Individuals born on or before April 8th, 1948 continue to receive DLA.
Okay.
For everyone else, PIP is the relevant benefit.
So there's a transition happening.
Yeah.
What does that mean for people currently receiving DLA? Do they need to reapply?
The DWP will contact individuals directly about moving from DLA to PIP.
Oh, okay.
You don't need to proactively apply unless your circumstances change.
Okay, that's reassuring.
Yeah.
What about people receiving ADP in Scotland who move to England or Wales?
Right.
Do their benefits automatically transfer?
Unfortunately not. If you receive ADP in Scotland and relocate to England or Wales, you'll need to apply for PIP separately.
Oh.
And your ADP payments stop 13 weeks after your move, so it's crucial to apply for PIP as soon as possible.
It sounds like there are a lot of nuances and regional differences
Definitely.
in how these benefits work.
Yeah,
This must be where citizens' advice really comes in handy.
absolutely. They can provide guidance and support to individuals applying for PIP or navigating these transitions.
I'm curious, what does the gov.uk website itself offer in terms of accessibility? Is the information easy to understand for everyone?
It does a decent job. You can find video guides with British Sign Language
Okay.
and easy read guides that explain PIP in simpler terms.
That's great. It's essential that this information is accessible to everyone who needs it.
Absolutely.
It sounds like we've covered a lot of ground already.
We have
What are some of the key takeaways you'd want listeners to remember about PIP so far?
Well, first, it's designed to support individuals in England and Wales with long-term health conditions or disabilities. It's not about income. It's about the impact of those conditions on your daily life.
Okay.
And crucially, it's assessed based on how much difficulty you have with tasks, not just whether you can do them at all.
That emphasis on individual assessment seems crucial.
It is very...
It's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Exactly. It recognizes the diverse ways disability can affect people's lives.
Yeah.
But there's another layer to PIP we need to explore, the philosophy behind it.
Okay, this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
We've talked about the nuts and bolts, but what are the underlying principles that shape this benefit?
One of the most fascinating things about PIP is how it moves away from labeling someone simply as disabled.
Right.
Instead, it tries to understand the specific ways their condition impacts their life.
It's a shift from a binary view of disability to a more nuanced and personalized approach.
Exactly. And this aligns with a broader societal shift towards recognizing the diversity of human experience and moving away from rigid categories.
It's about seeing the person, not just the disability.
Precisely. And this individualized approach extends beyond the assessment process.
Okay.
The support provided through PIP is also tailored to the individual's needs.
It's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
No.
It's about providing the specific support that will empower someone to live as independently as possible.
Exactly. And that might mean financial assistance to cover the cost of adaptive equipment, help with transportation, or access to support workers who can help with daily tasks.
So it's about creating a system that's flexible and responsive to the unique challenges faced by each individual.
That's right. And that brings us to another crucial aspect of PIP. Its role in promoting social inclusion and participation.
I see the connection
Yeah.
by supporting people with disabilities to manage daily tasks and get around.
Yes.
PIP enables them to participate more fully in society.
Exactly. About breaking down barriers and creating a more inclusive environment where everyone has the opportunity to live a fulfilling life.
So it's not just about financial support, it's about creating a more just and equitable society.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But let's not forget about the emotional side of navigating these systems.
Right. Applying for benefits can be stressful and even demoralizing. It requires disclosing personal and often sensitive information about your health and struggles.
And there's often a stigma attached to receiving benefits, which can make people feel ashamed or like they're not contributing to society.
That's why it's crucial to remember that benefits are a right, not a charity.
Yes.
They're part of the social safety net designed to protect people from hardship.
And it's important to acknowledge the strength and resilience of those navigating these systems while managing their health conditions.
Absolutely. It's not easy to ask for help, and we should commend those who do.
I agree.
I think this is a good place to pause and reflect on what we've discussed so far.
I agree. We've covered a lot of ground from the basics of PIP to the philosophy behind it and the emotional challenges involved, but there's still much more to explore.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
So we'll be back in just a moment.
Okay.
Okay, back into the deep dive we go. You mentioned the emotional challenges of applying for benefits, and I think it's important to address that head on. What can someone do if they're feeling overwhelmed or discouraged by the process?
Well, one of the best things you can do is reach out for support. Citizens Advice, as we've discussed, is a fantastic resource. They can offer guidance and advocacy, helping you understand the process and your rights.
It's like having a knowledgeable friend in your corner guiding you through the maze. I'm curious, though, beyond the individual level, what are some of the broader societal implications of PIP?
That's a great question on a macro level.
Yeah.
PIP plays a significant role in fostering social inclusion and participation. By providing financial support and resources, it enables people with disabilities to engage more fully in their communities.
So it's about more than just meeting basic needs. It's about empowering people to live their lives to the fullest.
Precisely, think about it. If someone can't afford the adaptive equipment they need or struggles to get to work because of mobility challenges, they're effectively excluded from many aspects of society.
It creates a ripple effect, impacting their employment opportunities, social interactions, and overall well-being.
Exactly. PIP helps break down those barriers, allowing people to participate in the workforce, education, leisure activities, all the things that contribute to a fulfilling life.
It sounds like PIP is almost an investment in human potential, recognizing that everyone has something to offer society.
That's a great way to put it. It's about creating a system that values and supports all its members regardless of their abilities.
Now, we've talked about the positive aspects, but I'm sure there are also challenges and criticisms associated with PIP. What are some of the common concerns people raise?
One of the most frequent criticisms is the assessment process itself. Some argue that it can be subjective and inconsistent, leading to individuals with similar needs receiving different levels of support.
That must be incredibly frustrating for those going through the process. It creates a sense of uncertainty and unfairness.
Absolutely. And there's also concern that the focus on assessing specific tasks can sometimes miss the bigger picture of how a condition impacts someone's life holistically.
So it's about striking a balance between objective evaluation and understanding the lived experience of disability.
Precisely. And there are ongoing debates about whether the benefit levels are adequate to meet the actual costs associated with living with a disability.
Cost of living is a major concern for everyone these days, but it must be especially challenging for people with disabilities who often face additional expenses related to their health and care.
Exactly. And those costs can quickly add up, from specialized equipment and transportation to home modifications and personal care assistance.
So while PIP is undoubtedly a crucial support system, it's important to acknowledge that it's not a perfect solution and that there are always areas for improvement.
Absolutely. It's an ongoing conversation, and it's important to listen to the voices of those directly impacted by the system to identify areas where it can be more effective and equitable.
Now, you mentioned earlier that Citizens Advice conducts research and campaigns to influence policy. What are some examples of their work in the area of disability rights?
Well, they've been actively involved in campaigning for better access to public transport, advocating for inclusive design in buildings and public spaces, and pushing for greater digital accessibility.
Those are all crucial areas. Accessible transport is essential for enabling people with disabilities to participate fully in society, whether it's getting to work, visiting family and friends, or simply enjoying their community.
Exactly. And inclusive design benefits everyone, not just those with disabilities. Think about ramps or curb cuts, originally designed for wheelchair users, but now used by parents with strollers, delivery people with hand trucks, and countless others.
It's a perfect example of how designing for inclusivity creates a more accessible and functional environment for all.
Precisely. And the same principle applies to digital accessibility websites with clear navigation, alternative text for images, and keyboard-friendly interfaces not only benefit people with disabilities, but improve the user experience for everyone.
It's like that old saying, a rising tide lifts all boats. By advocating for accessibility, Citizens Advice is helping create a more inclusive and equitable society for all.
And their work extends beyond campaigning. They also provide practical resources and support to individuals navigating the complexities of benefits systems.
That's invaluable, especially considering how overwhelming those systems can be, even for people who are relatively familiar with them.
Absolutely, and it's not just about practical advice. They also offer emotional support and advocacy, helping people feel empowered and less isolated during what can be a very challenging process.
Now let's circle back to something we touched on earlier, the difference between PIP and attendance allowance. Can you remind us of the key distinctions between these two benefits?
Certainly, the primary difference lies in the age of the recipient, and the nature of the support provided. PIP, as we've discussed, is for adults under state pension age who need help with daily living or mobility. Attendance allowance, on the other hand, is specifically for people age 65 or over who need help with personal care due to illness or disability.
So it's about tailoring the support to the specific needs and circumstances of different age groups.
Exactly. PIP aims to support independence and participation in the community for working-age adults, while attendance allowance focuses on ensuring that older individuals have the care and assistance they need to maintain their well-being and dignity.
And neither benefit is means tested, which means income and savings don't affect eligibility.
That's right. It underscores the principle that everyone deserves access to support when they need it, regardless of their financial situation.
Now, we've talked a lot about the intricacies of PIP and other benefits, but I'm curious, how did these systems compare to social support programs in other countries? Are there any notable similarities or differences?
That's a fascinating question, and it opens up a whole other deep dive into comparative social policy. But in broad strokes, the UK system, with its emphasis on individual assessment and tailored support, shares some similarities with models in other European countries. However, there are also significant differences in terms of benefit levels, eligibility criteria, and the role of private versus public provision.
It sounds like there's no one-size-fits-all approach to social support. Each country develops a system that reflects its own values, priorities, and economic realities.
Precisely, and those systems are constantly evolving in response to changing demographics, economic conditions, and societal attitudes towards social welfare.
I'm realizing that this deep dive has really just scratched the surface of a much larger and more complex topic.
Absolutely. There are countless layers to explore, from the history and philosophy of social welfare to the economic and political debates surrounding it.
And it's a topic that touches all of our lives, whether we're directly impacted by these systems or not.
Exactly. Understanding social support is essential for understanding how we function as a society and for shaping a more just and compassionate world.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what are some key takeaways you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I think it's essential to remember that social support systems are not just about providing financial assistance. They're about upholding fundamental values of human dignity, compassion, and social responsibility.
They're a reflection of who we are as a society and what we prioritize.
Exactly, and they play a crucial role in ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to live a full and meaningful life, regardless of their circumstances.
I think that's a powerful message to end on, but before we wrap up entirely, there's one more aspect of this topic. I'd like to explore the role of technology in shaping the future of social support.
That's a great point. Technology is already having a profound impact on how social support is delivered and accessed, and its influence is only going to grow in the years to come.
I'm eager to delve into that further, but for now, let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll explore how technology is shaping the landscape of social support and what it might mean for the future of benefits like PIP. All right, so we're back and ready to kind of dive into this intersection of technology and social support.
Yeah.
It's exciting, but also kind of scary.
It is. It certainly is.
I think so.
Technology has this huge potential to revolutionize how we deliver and access support.
Right.
But it also raises all these questions about, equity, privacy,
Yeah.
and just the human touch.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, think about how much of our lives have already moved online.
Oh, absolutely.
Everything from, banking and shopping to healthcare and education.
Yeah,
It's only natural that social support would follow suit.
exactly. And we're already seeing it happen, right?
Mm.
Many benefits programs, including PIP, are moving toward online applications and more digital communication.
This could be huge for people with disabilities who might, face challenges with the traditional paper-based systems
Yeah.
or, having difficulty traveling to in-person appointments.
For sure, online platforms can make that whole application process so much more accessible and convenient,
Right.
Allowing people to apply from their own homes and at their own pace.
But I imagine there are also concerns about, the digital divide
Oh,
and making
absolutely.
sure everyone has equal access to these online services.
Yeah, that's a crucial point. Not everyone has reliable internet access or even the digital literacy skills to navigate these sometimes complex online systems.
Yeah,
So it's vital that these services are really designed with inclusivity in mind,
right.
providing alternative options for those who need them.
What about the role of AI? I've heard about AI being used to streamline benefits applications
Yeah.
and even assist with assessments.
That's right. AI has that potential to automate certain tasks, like processing those applications and flagging, potential eligibility issues.
Right.
And this could really free up human caseworkers to focus on the more complex cases and provide more personalized support.
That sounds promising, but I can't help but wonder about, The ethical implications of relying on algorithms to make decisions about people's lives.
Yeah, that's a valid concern. It's crucial that any AI systems used in social support are designed with transparency and fairness in mind,
Right.
ensuring that they don't perpetuate existing biases or
Right.
discriminate against certain groups.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that technology is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill.
Absolutely.
It's up to us to make sure it's used ethically and responsibly in this context of social support.
I completely agree with you. And beyond the practicalities of applications and assessments, technology can also play a big role in connecting people with support and fostering a sense of community.
Yeah, I'm thinking about things like online forums and support groups where
Exact.
people can share experiences and advice and resources.
Yeah, those online spaces can be incredibly valuable for combating isolation and providing that peer-to-peer support, especially for people with, less visible disabilities or those living in rural areas with limited access to inputs and services.
It's like creating a virtual safety net, right? Connecting people who might otherwise feel alone in their struggles.
Absolutely. And technology can also be a powerful tool for raising awareness and advocating for change.
Oh, for sure.
Social media platforms can amplify the voices of people with disabilities, challenging stereotypes and pushing for more inclusive policies.
It's about shifting the narrative, right?
Yeah.
And empowering people with disabilities to be agents of change.
Precisely. And technology can also help facilitate innovation in assistive devices and technologies, making it easier for people with disabilities to live independently and participate, fully in society.
Yeah, we're seeing those incredible advancements in areas like mobility aids,
Yeah,
communication devices, and home automation.
absolutely.
It's truly remarkable how technology is breaking down barriers and opening up these new possibilities.
It really is. And as technology continues to evolve, we can expect to see even more transformative changes in this field of social support.
So, as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into UK benefits, with this focus on PIP and the future of social support, what are some of the key takeaways you want our listeners to remember?
I think the most important message is that social support is not just about providing a safety net.
Hmm.
It's about investing in human potential and building a more inclusive and equitable society.
It's about recognizing the inherent worth and dignities of every individual, regardless of their abilities.
Exactly. And technology has a crucial role to play in this endeavor.
Yeah.
It can empower individuals, connect communities, and drive innovation, creating a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
Well, this has been a fascinating and thought-provoking journey.
It has.
I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of this really complex and ever-evolving topic.
I agree, and that's the beauty of it. There's always more to learn, more to explore, and more to do to create a more just and compassionate world.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been my pleasure.
We hope it sparked your curiosity and inspired you to continue exploring the world of social support and its impact on our lives and our society.